You are listening to the Big Blue Podcast. I'm Greg Stone, Metro Campus Provost, here as always with our president, Dr. Lee Goodson. Dr. Goodson, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How are you, Dr. Stone?
I'm doing really well, and we are here again with three of our guests to talk about the Design Institute, something a number of our faculty members have been through in the last several months, and there's been a lot of conversation about college-wide. We're here with Dr. Jennifer Campbell, who is one of our instructional designers and who teaches in the Design Institute, as well as Professor Don Crall from Northeast Campus and Professor Travis White from West Campus, technically, but lately out and about teaching everywhere, who have both been through the Design Institute, and we wanted to sit down with them. We had a first conversation that you heard last week, and now we're here to continue the conversation and talk about what is probably the most exciting professional development opportunity that we've had for faculty members in a long time. And we've had some really good stuff. But this seems to be, Jennifer, just really transforming the way a lot of people are viewing the work that they do with students in their classrooms. It's really, something's catching on here. And I wonder, Jennifer, if you might be able to talk to us just about some feedback that you've heard from other faculty members. Obviously, Travis and Don are here with us, but what else have you been hearing from faculty members who have gone through the process? And what would you say to someone who might be thinking about applying for this next round that's going to happen in May 2019?
The feedback has been very positive, at least everything that I've heard. People seem to really appreciate having time, the college giving them time to take a week to really examine how they teach, what their materials look like, present it to their peers, give feedback, have their peers present their materials to them and have them critically analyze. They submit work in the evenings and get feedback from facilitators. It's really pretty amazing to just have that time to sit down for a portion of the day to get some information about new teaching ideas, to participate in activities, to have time to work. There's time built into work. We eat lunch together, we talk. It's just really, I think, unique and positive professional development opportunity. And I hope everybody at some point everybody that teaches here at some point decides to go through Design Institute. The more variety we have in instructors, the better. Everybody learns from each other.
Yeah, and I would add to that was probably one of the most interesting aspects of the Design Institute is we're often appropriately sort of divided by our subject matter, our discipline, whenever we have formal opportunities to work on this type of thing. But this was a very multidisciplinary, from folks from across the board, subjects that I haven't probably had since 8th grade. So it was really neat to have not just the information about the subject matter they're teaching, but the way that they approach different subject matter and how that might be relevant or applicable to other areas.
We also love to talk about the different types of learning, but we never really demonstrate them. And this development actually does. We're going to talk about it, introduce the concepts, and then we're going to show it to you, and then we're going to actually help you do it. So now we are really reaching all the different kinds of learning styles. But we really talk about training is not really training, right, until you've actually acted upon what you've done. And this really gives us that opportunity. We get to see the work in action. We get to have a finished product when we're leaving. We're not walking away with theories. We're walking away with a product that we have completed over the past week.
And to that point, too, Jennifer, I appreciate you making that comment about having a broad, diverse group of people. I mean, in some ways, it's a very natural next step to ATE, right? Where you're in with a new group of brand new faculty to the college, all disciplines, all departments, all campuses. And here is another opportunity to continue on that kind of a model and really focus in on some things that ATE maybe is covering in a broader sense. So this is really the chance to zero in on something. I'm wondering, too, if I could throw in a question. On the first part, we briefly talked about equity, or it was brought up, and I wonder if I could just throw you a question that we didn't prepare you for, but you're all experts and you can handle it. What is the focus on equity in Design Institute? I mean, how does that demonstrate itself in Design Institute?
We spend time talking about motivation and transparency. We spend time talking about the syllabus as an invitation rather than a contract. For those that got to hear Dr. Lowry Hart come last year, some of the work in Design Institute is going to follow up with some of the work that he presented that's going on in Amarillo, where students look, some students, not all students, but some students are looking not for messages of I can do it, but they're looking for signs, confirmation that I do not belong
That
here.
they can't.
That
Right.
they can't.
They assume that they can't, and they're waiting for somebody to confirm that for them.
Exactly.
Right.
So if you have a syllabus that uses jargon that you do not understand, maybe you don't even understand what a syllabus is. From day one, you're getting this message of, I'm not good enough, or I don't understand this, or we talk about things like on a reading schedule, that you need to make it clearer if you want students to read that before class to tell them, because some people might just think, oh, this is what we're going to do in class. So
I remember when Dr. Peggy Dyer used to, she presented or went to a program and would talk about R is for Thursday.
Right.
Exactly.
Remember that?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because in the schedule, R is for Thursday. It's MTWRF.
Yeah.
And
exactly,
who,
yeah.
who's going to know R is for Thursday?
Right.
Yeah, so.
There's also there's an emphasis in Design Institute about thinking all the time about why you are doing something and putting transparency into your assignment directions, making it very clear. And my experience was that when people presented their assignment directions and talked about them with other people, maybe not people that teach in their discipline, but people outside, that many people were shocked that other people didn't find the directions to be as clear or to provide that connection to the student about why it's important. And so the transparency and motivation that we emphasize, I think, all has to do with equity.
How much more motivating it is when you know the why. Because how many times do we hear students say, well, I don't know about you all, but I've got teenagers at home, and they'll say, that's busy work. They're just making us do busy work. Or, you know, this is not something that helps me. I just have to do this.
And if you've been teaching for a long, long time, it could be that you've kind of lost a little bit of the why.
Right.
And that this is a chance to get in there for a week and think about it.
re-energize about it. So, talk to us. This is for all three of you, but talk to us about what's the most important lesson that you've learned from participating in the Design Institute. And Jennifer, I know your answer is going to be a little different because you've designed the Design Institute, but for our professors here, talk to us, what's the most important thing?
I think no matter how intentional you are, no matter how much student success means to you and how much you're working toward that, there's always something else you can do. And sometimes we think we've arrived, we think we're doing what we're supposed to, and then something like this comes up, and it gives us another aha moment. It's just one of those that you wouldn't think about any other time. I will also add for the instructors that don't like the new cookie cutter generic syllabi, which is good, this is a good way that you can personalize it and still stay within the scope of what the school is asking. But I'm always amazed that there's things that we miss that we think we knew, and then all of a sudden we find something else that we could be working on.
We're always learning.
Yes.
I would say, first of all, that you should apply to be a participant in Design Institute. It really is a great opportunity. And a major thing that folks may or may not know is that the Design Institute is not created to have a one best solution to the syllabus or to teaching or to course design, quite frankly. And it really does provide a great deal of latitude for an ongoing and iterative process of course curriculum design.
Having been both a participant and then a facilitator, I just think that It's when you put your intention, when you're intentional, working with a group of people, you can really do amazing things. When you take the time to reflect and listen and read and gather new ideas, that you can really get a lot done in just a week time.
Well, we want to end with the question that we ask all of our guests, which we have started to refer to some time ago as the big question, which is if you could go back in time and give your 18-year-old college-going self some advice, what would that advice be? Travis, we'll start with you.
So the sci-fi nerd in me says nothing because you might mess with the time-space continuum or the timeline. So that's alarming.
That is the most unique answer I think that we have ever gotten, isn't it?
But,
Nice.
but in fairness, I'll follow that up with a genuine response. I would say the best advice that I never took, and that would be don't take yourself too seriously.
That's good.
Don, what about you?
I'd rather start at 16. I was actually homeless at 16, supported myself full-time. I would go back there, and really for anyone that was in those situations, I would say don't give up. You know, this is a place for you. This is where you can make a difference in your life, and as long as you don't give up, things are going to be tough, but just never give up.
There's some great stories there, no doubt. I wish we had time to talk about it. Jennifer, what about you?
Oh, just to have fun, take advantage of the time that you have to learn and enjoy it as you're going.
Those are great answers.
Yep.
Well, thank you to all three of you. We have really enjoyed learning more about the Design Institute. You've been listening to the Big Blue Podcast today. We want to thank our guests for spending some time with us, and we want to thank you for listening. Remember, you can catch the Big Blue Podcast each week in the week at TCC and on the Creativity channel at YouTube. Travis, Don, Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us. Greg, as always,
Yep.
it's a joy.
Thank you.
Have a great afternoon.